Welcome back. Our monthly visit with John Fausett. This is going to be an interesting one, John, because we kind of have a few different topics to talk about, all of them winter related. And of course, the first thing we have to talk about is the El Nino, updating on that, because that has just been making headlines all over the place. And the big focus is we've got these El Nino field storms that have been moving through. The question from people is, how much longer is something like this going to last? So let's take that graphic and look at some of the details. The El Nino conditions, they are continuing through our winter of 2016.
That's right. We peaked. It'll slowly weaken, but it's so strong. It's tied for the strongest ever, the one 17 years ago or so. So it should remain through the winter and then become neutral this early summer. And what you have there is very interesting. Many of these strong El Ninos switch over to La Nina in a year. We don't want that to happen. We've had plenty of dry years. Let's see if we can stay out of that. But for now, it looks like, and remember when we talked about El Nino earlier in the season?
Yes.
We were showing the folks that January and February would be the peak portion of the effect on our part of the country. So I think that's starting to happen.
And that's something interesting we'll be tracking as we go along the next several days. Now let's switch gears here and look at something from our neck of the woods, which is the Ski Apache snow report. This is really interesting, John. The season total is at 121 inches. The base is at 99 inches. And this is the part that's kind of the base value is actually the best of the ski report that's sent out by New Mexico in all of New Mexico.
And we'll take it. Oh, they brag so much up north. And then, you know, partially because the track of the parade of storms you had last week was a little further south, and that really helped out with Ski Apache. And, you know, during the last 20 years, this is a wonderful ski season. You know, most of the last 20 years, if you did get skiable conditions, it was usually late in the winter. Well, we've got a good start.
Yeah, very good start, and as you mentioned, still have time to collect more snow up there. Now let's talk about winter precipitation. We got some viewer photos last week when we had a storm system move by, and we actually got a lot of pictures just like this, John. So I wanted to help viewers a little bit with qualifying or understanding what they're seeing outside. So we're trying to break this down in more basic terms, and you're going to help me out with this. Hail, that's something we got reports of last week.
That's going to be the default description of frozen precipitation hitting and bouncing, but it wasn't true hail. That's usually more in the warm season where you have strong updrafts suspending these growing ice formations up in the air, and they get larger and larger, and they have layers. It's complicated, but that's the most damaging kind. Sleet, you got the rain that freezes before it reaches the ground. It's usually clear. It hits and bounces. You can get snow pellets too, a little more white in appearance and bouncing when it hits the ground. And then graupel is kind of like what we call soft hail. Really, when you look at how all these things form, it's complex, it's different. But for the public, all they really care about, oh, hey, is it floating down? Is it floating like a snowflake, or is it bouncing, or is it breaking my window?
Exactly. And a really good qualifier, too, as you mentioned, is that for sleet, a lot of times it'll be clear, whereas graupel may be more of a white color, so that's a little easy. Yesterday, what we picked up, or rather last week, I picked up and you could kind of squash what I was thinking was graupel outside of our station, so that's a nice qualifier. Wow, falling squash?
What would the farmers say about that?
John always has good jokes, I have to say. You know what, John, thank you so much for coming with us this Tuesday morning, and we will be right back after the break.